Welcome to 2018. I had endeavoured to do this new vlog for the new year a little bit earlier than this, but unfortunately the obligatory holiday bug did its rounds and did a real number on me, so this is why this one is a little bit later than everybody else's. Because I've been stuck in the house for a number of weeks, I decided that maybe perhaps I should go outside and sample the fresh air, see people, enjoy a hot beverage from my local establishment. So I had endeavoured to do this outside today. Nice some fresh air, some scenery, but the wind's not playing ball. I would love to have the sea and the rocks and my local landscape behind me, but unfortunately it's just not working for me. So we're now huddled round the corner of a large rock with the road behind me, where people walk their dogs. They'll be casting a weary eye down on whoever the man is standing talking to the rock face because they can't see the camera. Yeah, right, let's do this. So 2017 January. I'm a commercial diver also, amongst all the other things that I've done over the course of the year. I was featured in an article in January by a dive school about my diving career, things I've achieved in diving and what it takes to become a diver, and the mindset that you use to combat various things whilst working in a very unhospitable and unforgiving environment. But an article nonetheless from the Underwater Centre in Fort William, links below if you're interested in diving. There's an article that I was featured in about that if you were thinking about doing that as a career. January also saw me get one of my first high profile gigs. I was invited to the Scottish National Party. If you're not familiar with the politics of Scotland, it's got SNP are the majority government in Scotland just now, and I was invited along to their Burns Supper, which is the annual tradition in Scotland to celebrate the poet Robbie Burns, and they always have a meal and a little soiree, if you will, and I was invited last year along, who was attended by the First Minister or head of government for that evening. I was the official photographer and filmmaker.
Which was the most dangerous woman.
Regardless of your politics and regardless of your beliefs in Scotland and its current political affairs, she's a lovely lady, and her husband's a fabulous man too, very funny, and I enjoyed the evening that I spent taking photos of everybody having fun and meeting our First Minister. It was yeah, that was a good start to the year. So there in fold is January. I will now move swiftly on to February 2017.
Well, I elected to to come back inside. It's far too cold out there to do my initial plan. So anyway, 2017, well 2016 actually, I worked on a vessel called the Silurian, which is a boat that is owned by the Hebridean Whale and Dolphin Trust based out of Tobermory. Links below in the description. I sailed with them over the summer. It's a research vessel, and they research data, as you can imagine. They collect data to research it based on various cetacean types that are habitable of these waters. And whilst I was on said boat, I did a lot of photography and a lot of video footage. And that said footage was used on BBC Breakfast News because of one of the scientists that worked there had managed to get funding or reapproval to try and do more, and it was being covered, and they used the footage that I used while I was working on the boat. So that was quite cool. And lastly for February, a little bit geek out, but there's a band I really like called 12 Foot Ninja. They're based in Australia, and their second album, or well, technically the third album I suppose, but a crowdfunded album came out and it arrived in my lap. The album had already been out that year. I think it came out in 2016, but I think they had issues with pressings, and it was vinyl I was particularly after. I got the digital EP, no problem at all, when it was released. Spot on, lads. But I was waiting on my vinyl to arrive, and it arrived in its fantastic glory. So yeah, that was February 2017. March 2017 saw a different angle of work. I did well, a bit of both actually, a bit of diving and a bit of video. I was working for a diving company who required inspection done of fish farms. We have a lot of fish farms out on the west coast, and they need inspected, and you can't inspect them from the surface because they go some cases down as far as 30 metres. So scuba gear is required. You jump inside and you swim around it, and then go down to its next seam, and then you swim around it and then down to the bottom, or the sort of conical shape at the bottom where dead fish would lie. But in order to check the structural integrity of the net, the diver has to do a full sweep, but film it in order for the client to see exactly what you're seeing, because they can't see. Some of them do have cameras, but depending on what part of the water or what part of Scotland you're diving in, the clarity or the water clarity isn't great. So it depends where you are. In this case, I was out on the Isle of Muck, which is a very tidal part of where the fish farm is. So it's very tidal, which means the water was passing through the nets quite strong. So it's quite a hard area to swim in, but it was quite clear. And yeah, I did that in March. I also did a promotional video for a school of wrestling, the Scottish School of Wrestling, based down in the Central Belt, down in, I want to say Livingston, but I'll put the links below to the SSW. I did a short promotional video there, which you can see on my YouTube channel, because that's one of my videos that I did last year that I posted. It was good to see that evolve, that whole thing. Okay, so we're moving swiftly on to April 2017, and probably the most notable month of the year because of the birth of my son, Nova. He was born on April 9th, 2017, which is my birthday, April 9th. April was quite busy because I also worked at the Edinburgh Comic Con, which is always nice. I do like Comic Cons. I am a fan, and I was invited along to do some photography and some video, and I had a great day. I was there for both days and saw some great outfits. I seen some great some shows, and some panelists, and great stalls. You know, the usual at the Comic Con. If you haven't been to one, you should probably go. The Edinburgh one's a little bit smaller than your massive San Diego's likes, but they're still really, really busy. Traffic running through there was pretty good. Kids' family day out. It's really nice, and I look forward to taking my kids to ones in the future. So, May. I did a couple of photo shoots. I did a photo shoot with a model called Rogie. I also was commissioned to do photography for a new build house on one of the shores of Loch Etive up here, which is quite nice. Getting commissioned to do photography is always nice because that means people really like your work. I'd also worked aboard the boat that I mentioned I was doing maintenance on in February. I worked aboard this boat in May. It's called the Proud Seahorse, and it's quite a large power yacht that went for a small trip out to the small isles, so Isle of Egg, Muck, Rum, that neck of the woods. And I was out there for 10 days as a guide, helping the people aboard with the history and geography of the lands of the west coast. And obviously as a photographer, it was good to give them any pointers and tips on how to get some shots of some decent wildlife, cetaceans in the sea, birds, a lot of sea eagles, and there's just a hive of activity, whether it be eagles, seals, dolphins, whales, basking sharks, you name it, it's all available. And then at the end of the month, I started working with Scottish Television, or STV Productions in Glasgow, I got hired as a production assistant or runner, as well as an aerial pilot for the drones, and I started that in May on the popular show Antiques Road Trip, which the BBC have now shown their 2 series already. Well, the series 2 is on, or series 16, I guess. The series 15 was a celebrity Antiques Road Trip, and I started on that show at the end of May with Tim Vine and Ricky Grover shooting in Edinburgh and the likes. June, I was mainly on the road in June, working with on that BBC show, Antiques Road Trip. July 2017, well, I was still on the road. I spent quite a lot of time away from home, but the company I was working for, STV, were very kind enough in order to get my family sent to a location in Glasgow when I come home, and I met them there rather than travel all the way back up to Oban. I became a poster boy, cover model, if you will. Yeah, I know it's hard to believe. I mean, who hadn't discovered this face before? Probably a number of years prior to this, I was involved in a photo shoot with my daughter in a sling. Baby wearing dad. You know, it's very modern now. Manly, beard, baby, sling. And it was brought to my attention, would you like to do a photo shoot with your daughter with this sling? It's very Celtic. Can you wear your kilt? We're going to do it in some sort of Highland rugged area. Yeah, it was ticking all the boxes for tourists. And I did that, and it was a bit of fun, and it was used for the company that supplied the sling. Anyway, track forward a couple of years, the publication Green Parent, yeah, it's new to me as well, it featured me and in that picture on their front cover, on their social media, the actual physical copy, websites, all over the place. And the first inkling I had was somebody who took a photo of the magazine on a stand in another part of the country and then tagged me in it on Facebook saying, what's all this about? Anyway, I allowed it to go ahead anyway. It was too late, they'd already used it. They remunerated me for the shots and sent me a gift and a life subscription to the Green Parent. I shot a commercial for a leisure company, North Lanarkshire Leisure, own the Ravenscraig Sports Centre facility in North Lanarkshire, and they required a video to promote indoor flooring. They have this snap and click flooring gets put down over the AstroTurf football pitch in order to hold other events, and so it doesn't damage the pitch. And initially they wanted kind of time-lapse video of the floor being put down. It escalated in a little bit more of that, because when I got there, it turned out that the event that they were hosting was the Transplant Games, the British Transplant Games, which is kind of like the Olympic Games or the Commonwealth Games or the national games. However, everybody that partakes in it has had a transplant of some way or another. So all the athletes are people who have transplanted a part of their body into another, and some people who have had the transplant done are doing the events as well. So it's quite a big thing. Anyway, they have an opening ceremony like most of these things, and I time-lapsed the whole thing from beginning to end, and it was very well received and very enjoyable to film. I did a motorbike shoot in Glasgow, which was quite interesting, alternative shoot in Glasgow, and I also got to star in a short horror film with my wife. It was a sort of two-minute horror short that a photographer and filmmaker based in Glasgow was looking to do. He does one every year for Halloween. We shot that in July, and he edited it and posted it in October for Halloween. I'll put the links below. It's quite disturbing, it's a bit weird, but it was a lot of fun, especially starring alongside your wife. And so we're moving to August 2017, another month, and I finished up with the series I was working on TV and started another series, which was quite nice. So when you're invited back to start the next series, it always means you're doing something right. I shot another video with my wife, which was she does the sort of fire arts, these fans and poi and staff and all this kind of thing. We had an idea that we would shoot a video in our neck of the woods. I had this idea of her using her fire fans on the end of a stone pier onto a loch surrounded by hills, and sort of at blue hour heading into night time. Thought the reflection of the fire of the water and the darkness and everything would make quite an interesting video. Specifically to a song by a band called Volumes, who released an album last year, and the single off of that one was called Finite, and the song was inspired the video. Went to Thorpe Park, which is it's an amusement park, isn't it? Yeah, Thorpe Park. It's got roller coasters and all sorts of things. So I hang out with the guys, the crew. We went there for the day. There was 4 of us because everybody else had gone home. But we were the ones that are furthest away from home. We stayed put for a couple of days. I think it's just outside Reading. So September, I did another photo shoot in Glasgow with a girl called Jay. That worked out quite well. Had an interesting backdrop to Glasgow. I also got to shoot a promo video for the shop Kiehl's. I'm sure you know who they are. Kiehl's. It's a shop that sells all various manner of stuff: shampoos, creams, and conditioners, and stuff for men, stuff for women. Anyway, they were holding a sort of fundraiser, and they wanted somebody to photograph and video the party that they had in their shop, and I did that. I went, and there was loads of makeup artists, and there was bands, and there was pop-up bars, pop-up shops, and various different things. And I filmed it all, edited it together, and was quite happy that I'd been asked to do that for that brand, Kiehl's, and MTV. Links below in the description, and you can have a look at the video, and indeed you can have a look at those brands. I'm sure you know who MTV are, but I'll link them anyway, just in case they want me to do some more work. I did a photo shoot up a mountain with a girl with a sword. I did a photo shoot in Edinburgh in the Botanic Gardens for autumn, and on the same day with the same model I shot a time-travelling style dystopian future thing at an old sort of house in Edinburgh, which worked out really, really good. October 2017, another photo shoot at the end of the month for Halloween, which was a bloodbath, kind of like a milk bath, except it was not milk, it was blood. Obviously not real blood. Got to use one of these hex bombs. I'll link in the description. I don't know if you're familiar with bath bombs and such like, but a hex bomb is the same thing, except it turns the water red and looks pretty cool, especially when you've got a scantily clad maiden submersed in the water. But that was good fun. That worked out quite well. November 2017 saw another shoot, this time in an abandoned village hospital in Bangor near Livingston. I was doing some aerial photography for some students who were doing a film based on the actual hospital when it was functioning. They were doing a historical documentary. I did another documentary that month. This time it was based on the River Clyde that runs through Glasgow. There's a documentary being made about the river, and I was asked if I would do some aerial shots by the same people who shot the documentary on the hospital. And another one of their colleagues was doing this other shoot and asked if I would do it, and I said yes. My first series that I worked on in the summer was aired on TV and got my first credits on TV. That was quite exciting. So yeah, November was quite good for that. And at the end of November, the last thing I did was shoot another documentary. There's a lady from Israel called Gilly who was shooting. She's an artist, she's not like a filmmaker, although she was making a film about art, and specifically a landscape near me in Glencoe. She had extras and she had actors and actresses, and she had this vision, and I was invited to take part in the filming of it. Sort of director of photography, kind of an idea, but I did it. I offered to do the aerial things as well, because when you're in Glencoe and it's as epic looking as it was, because there had been a lot of snow, I got the drone in the air and took some shots, and through that met some new contacts and colleagues for future endeavours, which would be quite good. Quite like to go to Israel and shoot out there. That'd be great. Gilly, if you're watching. November. So December, we were going on a family holiday to Lanzarote, full ensemble. Myself, my wife, her 2 kids, and my brother-in-law, his partner, and their kid. We all went across and spent a week, 7 days in Lanzarote. But unfortunately I took the cold with me, so I wasn't great feeling whilst I was there, and I brought it home with me. So Christmas was a bust, New Year was a bust, everything was just a bust, and I didn't achieve anything at all over the holidays. That was 2017. This is 2018. There's plenty of things coming this year that I'm looking forward to doing. There's things I want to achieve this year as well. Thanks again, and Happy New Year to you all. I hope you had a good New Year, and if you didn't have a good New Year, well, it's only the start of it. There's still another 12 months to go. Perhaps it'll pick up. Alright, and see you on the next one.